What is up, everybody? Back with another top 10 here, and it's a really cool and special one. Got my good buddy all the way from England, Quest for Metal. What is up, dude?
Fish and chips, cup of tea. I'm here with Bryce. It's going to be a fun one today. Tell him what we're going to do.
Yeah, so I was thinking of stuff we could do, and thought of a cool little video idea here. The top 10 one and done albums. So our 10 favorite albums where that album is the only full-length studio album by the band. And he agreed, got his list together real quick, and we're just going to jump straight into this. So,
Hell yeah.
Questy, kick us off. Kick us off with your number 10.
So I've not planned as well as you, so I'm not going to talk about a lot of the songs. I'm not as structured as you. I just fucking wing everything. So we're going to do it in that style, the style we're used to. So my number 10, I've got it right here next to me. See, if I'm looking at the side, I'm looking at the list, is Repulsion with Horrified. Now, you're probably thinking, what the hell's he doing talking about grindcore? And I'm not the biggest fan of grindcore. Not really. I never really talk about it. But this album's fucking special because it mixes like the death metal sound that we know and love with the grindcore more fast tempo kind of sound. And it just, I don't know, there's some kind of edge about it, which I prefer it to say like Napalm Death, Scum, or anything like that, or any other grindcore band or album that I've really listened to. This one has stuck with me a lot more because of the kind of gritty nature of it. I think if you do love death metal, you will love Repulsion's Horrified because it's grimy, it's gritty, it's heavy, it's fast, and it does sound more like death metal than grindcore. And this is the very first grindcore album ever made. Like, apparently ever made. I was looked at on Wikipedia, but you can't really trust Wikipedia, so fuck it. It might not be, but I say definitely give this one a listen. Definitely give it some love because if you love death metal, if you love fast death metal, intense death metal, then this album is for you.
Awesome. So my number 10 is going to be The Devil You Know by Heaven and Hell. Yes, some people, say it's a Black Sabbath album, but technically it's the Heaven and Hell band, which is actually the Mob Rules lineup of Black Sabbath from 81. They've got Geezer Butler on the bass, Vinny Appice on the drums, of course, Ronnie James Dio on vocals, and Tony Iommi on guitar. Really heavy, kind of doomy, awesome riffs from Tony as usual. A couple songs I wrote down here were Adam Evil as being one of my favorites, Bible Black, Follow the Tears, which... Yeah, Follow the Tears also just super heavy, amazing opening riff. And I think this was the last album that Ronnie recorded before he died, unfortunately. But really awesome stuff. The Devil You Know, my number 10.
More about that later. So
cool.
That is a great pick. I'm just going to spoil it. That is on my list.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe a bit higher, but we'll get to that. My number 9 is Cauldron Brood with Echoes of Battle. Now, this is black metal, epic black metal, kind of similar to say like Summoning, where you got the cool chanting, you got the cool shrieks, but it's not like typical fast, intense black metal, say of like Inquisition or Dark Throne or anything like that. It is a lot more epic sounding, and it's kind of mystical. Like the best band I would compare it to is Summoning. It's got that kind of mystical fantasy-esque quality, kind of like Lord of the Rings. Like you're on some Ents. You're with Merry and Pippin on the shoulders of Treebeard, about to kick some orc ass. That's the sound I get with this album, and I just wanna, get some trees and kick Saruman's fucking booty. I want to kick his booty hole. That's
awesome. Cool.
You'll like it. I reckon you'll like it.
All right, yeah, for sure. I'll definitely check that out pretty soon. For my number 9, I'm going to go with the Underworld Regime by the band Avhel. This was like a little super group that was around like 2010. This album came out in 2010. It was comprised of the two main members were King Avhel, the bass player who has played with like Dorgoroth and some other bands, and Shagrith from Dimmu Borgir. And the session guys on it, because he did the vocals and King Avhel did bass. You had Icedale from Enslaved do the guitar, and Frost from Satyricon 1349 do the drumming. So super powerful, heavy stuff, dark, just, typical classic sounding black metal. A couple of my favorite songs on it will be Devil's Harlot, Postmodern Sadist, Ghosting, really cool stuff that I think is pretty underrated. A while back, I mentioned it in a video, and some asshole was like, whoa, someone actually likes that album? So what the hell? But, I think it's really good. The Underworld Regime, number 9.
I have not heard that, and I don't know why, because, I love Enslaved, I love Dimmu, I love Satyricon sometimes. All these fucking Gorgoroth's great. I love all these artists and all these bands, and I've never heard that. So that's going to be on my
Yeah.
list tonight
Yeah.
to watch.
Cool. A lot of these guys have actually done like several projects together, like different collaborations. So might be talking a bit more about that in a few, but
That'll be
on
great
to your
for you to watch.
yeah.
I'm excited about that now. I'm excited about that. My next one is the album you've mentioned already, Heaven and Hell, The Devil You Know. It's Dio's last album. He is, he's a classic, he's an icon. And I saw them on this tour. I saw them play this. I saw them play Bible Black and stuff. I think it was Sonisphere. One of the last times he played in England, maybe.
That's awesome.
And it was fucking amazing. I mean, it's Dio. And him singing like Bible Black, it blows my fucking mind. I still love that album, and I think that's better than 13 by Black Sabbath. I would rather listen to The Devil You Know than 13.
For sure.
Easily.
I agree. Easily better.
Amazing album. Your next pick.
Cool. So my number 8 is kind of like a random, obscure one. I think people are going to be like, what the hell is that? But The Sad Realms of the Stars by the band Odium, which is a black metal band from Norway. I think kind of what hurt them is they came along a little bit late. Like this was their debut, came out in 1998. And it's kind of like spacey, symphonic metal, very melodic, awesome stuff, epic sounding. A couple of the standouts I've got written down here are Towards the Forest Horizon and Palace of Forgotten Dreams. Just really good stuff. I highly recommend. The Sad Realms of the Stars, Odium.
Another one I need to check out. As soon as you say black metal and anything, I'm like, I'm sold. That's going to be good.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you picked a symphonic one because you don't really like the cheesy symphonic shit.
I mean, this one, it's still got like pretty dark atmosphere, and the keyboards just sound really kind of like dark and like ominous. Okay. It's not like super over the top or anything.
It's not like proper power metal.
No.
All right, my next one is fucking weird. Vedbwen's Ends. I need to read it because Vedbwen's Ends, Written in Waters. This is an avant-garde, just mental fucking album where even the art is just like, what's going on? There's these metal people in this red water. You know it's going to be weird. You know it's going to be bonkers. It's very dissonant. It's very different time signatures, different structural arrangements in the songs. Everything is weird. This is the weirdest album on my entire list. And it's hard to describe this particular album. If you like bands like Death's Blow Omega, that kind of black metal where everything's changing, it's very dissonant, jazzy is another word I'd describe it. It's very jazzy. It's very hard to get into. This is probably the hardest album on my list to get into just because of how mind-melting it is. But if you love stuff like Gorguts Obscura, Death's Blow Omega's entire discography, Blue House Nord, anything weird and cool within your black metal, you'll love this album. Definitely one to give a try. So all the other ones on my list are kind of like, oh, okay, this is death metal. All right, this is, classic heavy metal. This one's like, I can't describe it. You got to listen to this one. It's too weird, and I think you're either going to love it or hate it. It's a Marmite album, but I fucking love it.
Sweet. Sounds awesome. So my number 7 is going to be the self-titled debut, only album, obviously, from Steeler, which there's 2 different bands that are called Steeler. One had Axel Rudi Pell, the German guitar player, which he kind of plays a similar style to the guitarist that played on this album. It's the very first recording of Yngwie Malmsteen. So, and also Ron Keel from the band Keel is doing vocals. A great classic sound on it. Yngwie, of course, is a freaking shred god, one of my favorite guitar players of all time. And you can definitely hear it on this. He's only like 18 years old at the time or whatever. But killer stuff. Cold Day in Hell, Hot on Your Heels, which that one has a really cool like acoustic intro. It's basically like Spanish Fly on speed by freaking Van Halen, that type of thing. Then it breaks in with his electric guitar shredding. Just amazing album. I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard it, but Steeler, debut 1983, awesome stuff.
Nice. Again, not heard it. I like that our lists are so very different. That's good. We've only had one overlap so far, which is kind of rare for this topic. So that's good. Yeah. My next one is death metal, Finnish death metal with Demlich, with Nesbiff. I don't know if I've said that right, but this is cavernous death metal. It's brutal death. Well, it's not brutal death metal, but you know what I mean. The sound of it is heavy, but the singing puts a lot of people off. The singing is so low, so frog-like. It's like what's his fucking name? We talked about it before. From Inquisition.
Dagon.
Dagon, that's it. It's
Yeah.
like you turned his volume down to like minus 100, and he's like a lower version of Dagon. He's just doing these croaks throughout the entire song. It's like, and it's like, what the fuck? But as soon as you get over that speed bump, the music held within is just amazing. And then you start to enjoy his vocals. Similar to, it's like the death metal version of Inquisition. That's what I'd say Demlich is like. So I know you like Inquisition a lot. So I say check this one out, because I reckon you can get into the vocals if you like his kind of froggy sound like Kermit.
Absolutely.
I'm going to commit suicide. It's great. I think everyone should love this album. If you love death metal, give it a listen. The Finns do it again.
Awesome. So my number 6 is going to be Blood from Stone by the band The Moaning. This is another black metal. It's like melodic black and melodic death mixed. I'd say it's kind of like a cross between I'm forgetting the band's name. They do Slaughter of the Soul.
At the Gates.
Yeah, At the Gates. So it's like At the Gates mixed with Dissection. So that type of thing. Ooh, the vocals are very similar vocals to At the Gates, with like more melodic black music, I'd say. But really awesome stuff. Another one that I think came out just a little bit too late. Didn't come out till 1997. It was, I think this is Norwegian. Maybe not. I don't know. But I didn't write that far down. I think it's either Norwegian or Swedish. But one of those.
Same place. It's the same place.
Thing, yeah. Dying Internal Embers and Mirror of the Soul. A few of my favorites on it. Just really, really cool album that I know you'll like for sure. And Blood from Stone, number 6.
I mean, I love At the Gates and I love Dissection, so that's a perfect fucking mix right now.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. Sure. My next one I've talked about before on my channel. It's Winter Into Darkness, a classic album, Death Doom, and it's a classic album, but I think everyone fucking categorizes it wrong. I know it's Death Doom, but some of these passages are so fucking slow. I always think it's like Funeral Doom, with how slow some of these passages are and some of these songs, but I don't know. I think you should check it out, Bryce, because I think you'd like Death Doom, but it is a bit slow. So it's kind of hard to get into, but it is a classic in the genre for a reason, because it kicks fucking ass. It's in my top Doom albums of all time. I did a top 20 Doom albums. This is on it. I love it. I love the riffs. I love the vocals. I love the cold nature of it. It has a very cold atmosphere within this album, and I applaud it for that. So Winter Into Darkness, I think it's amazing.
Cool. So my number 5 is going to be The Ending Quest by the band Gormant. Now, this is a Swedish death metal band. They've got that really kind of like big, thick, heavy guitar tone, kind of muddy. I'd say it's similar to like Entombed, that whole scene over there in Sweden in the early to mid 90s. This came out in 94. My Ending Quest, Human Relic, The Memorial, a few of the really good standout tracks on it. But top to bottom, this is killer. It's The Ending Quest by Gormant, number 5.
Hell yeah. Did you say it sounded like Entombed, or was it just had a similar style?
It's that same style, like that. Kind of like muddy guitar tone, big, thick, heavy riffs.
Thick, with a THICC.
Yeah, two C's there.
It's thick. My next one, I've also talked about before. I think it was on the same list as Winter. It's Disembowelment with Transcendence into the Peripheral. Now, this is Funeral Doom. But on the flip side, whereas I think Winter's Into Darkness is a bit slower, this one's a bit more death-like. The growls on this album, which I'm not going to try and pronounce again, because I'll just fuck it up, is so just demonic. So just like I'm going to say cavernous again, but that's the sound it is. It's death metal's cavernous, kind of like Hooded Menace or any of those kind of fucking bands. But you got these long songs, you got these kind of epic sounding songs, but it's also heavy as fuck. It's death metal through and through. Just, elongate it. Elongate it to a long fucking, 10-minute long songs each. But it's a classic. The cover art's just fucking red. I don't know if you've seen it before, but it's just red. I hate the cover art. The cover art sucks. But the album, the music held within, fantastic. One of the best Funeral Doom albums of all time. Everyone has to check it out.
Cool. I will be sure to do that. And for my number 4... What's up?
You hate Funeral Doom?
Hey, I might get into it. But cool pick though. Cool pick. So my number 4 is going to be March of the Norse by Demonaz. This is the solo project of immortal guitar player Demonaz. Now, this came out in 2011, so it's just about to turn 10 years old. And with this one, the reason that Demonaz had to leave Immortal is because apparently he had arthritis, couldn't play guitar. And at this point, he still couldn't play guitar. So he does the vocals, the songwriting, and the lyrics on the album. But the guitar playing is done by Icedale again. Like I mentioned, a lot of these guys kind of get together and do stuff. But and the drumming is done by Armageddon, who was the original. He played on the very first Immortal album, Diabolical Full Moon.
The best one.
And yeah, good stuff. This album here, this is, I'd kind of classify it as like blackened Viking metal. Just there's like a black metal tint, but it's very epic sounding. A lot of those like background hums and stuff you hear and stuff like Hammerheart. It's got that kind of feel. And, you know, the standout tracks, All Black and Sky for sure is amazing. The melodies on this are freaking awesome. A Son of the Sword and probably Where the Gods Once Rode are my favorites, but very epic sounding album. I think you'll like it a lot if you haven't heard it yet. But yeah, March of the Norse, Demonaz, my number 4.
Oh yeah, Demonaz, amazing vocalist.
Yeah.
What's it? Northern Chaos Gods, the latest Immortal album.
Yeah, it's actually a bit different. His vocals on this album aren't like as harsh as they are on that album.
Oh really?
He's trying to do a bit more of a clean style. So I mean, it's interesting. Interesting.
That is cool. I will check that out because I've not checked that out. Another album where I didn't fucking notice existed. So
cool.
Thanks for all these picks. My next one is a bit different. It's Amazores with Amazores. This is a post-black metal kind of shoegazy, blackgazy kind of sound. It's a side project by Niche from Alcest, which is probably my second favorite band of all time, maybe third favorite band behind Ahab. I love everything he's touched and he's done. And this is a similar sound to Alcest. So if you love that kind of dreamy black metal, atmospheric black metal, this is an underrated album. He only did one, and then they broke up. No more albums by them, which is a shame because this album is very depressing, very atmospheric, and just beautiful. It's a beautiful album. Niche sings amazingly. The screams, the shrieks, fantastic. Maybe I'm biased with this pick because Alcest is one of my favorite bands, but Amazores, I haven't heard anyone talk about it. So I'm going to give it some love on this list. Definitely give it a listen.
Cool. Another one that I'm not familiar with, but I'll definitely look into it. My number 3 is going to be Welcome My Last Chapter by Vinterland. The only one that I've got like a little prop for. It's a patch that I still need to get a jacket to put it on. But yeah, this is really cool, like Swedish melodic black metal. Fits in right along with like Dissection and all those other bands that were coming up around the time. Ardon, Our Glory, the opening song is fantastic. The Castle So Crystal Clear, As I Behold the Dying Sun, some of the standouts. Just very awesome, melodic, fantastic stuff. The guitars sound great. Have you heard this one? I think you'll like it a lot if you haven't heard it.
Vinterland, I've heard a song from it, but I haven't heard the entire album.
Yeah, well, it's really good. Welcome My Last Chapter, number 3. So, yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I definitely need to give that one a full listen as well. Isn't there 2 bands called Vinterland? I swear there's another band called Vinterland. I swear there's like multiple.
It could be, because I don't know though. There might be.
I might have heard the fucking different one. My number 2 is Ferragotham, Stream from the Heavens. This is the very first Funeral Doom album. Me repping all the fucking Doom albums on my list.
Yeah.
The biased alert. The very first Funeral Doom album ever made. It's Doom That'll Make You Coom. That's my tag. Doom That'll Make You Coom.
Awesome. Sounds great.
I mean, you know what you're going to get. I mean, I can't describe Funeral Doom any other way than it's long, it's epic, it's dirgy, it's doomy, because it's fucking Doom. It feels like you're in a haunted forest with a cemetery and there's some zombies slowly crawling towards you, but at the pace of a snail. That's what it feels like when you're listening to this album. It paved the way for all the greatness to come, and I still think it sits in line with some of the best of the genre. So, Stream from the Heavens by Ferragotham. People generally know it in the Funeral Doom. If you like Funeral Doom, people mostly know it because it is like the pioneer. It's like Death. You know, people know Death for like death metal, or Ferragotham is that for Funeral Doom. But I still think anyone who wants to check it out definitely should give it a listen because, you know, it's iconic. It's an iconic album, so it has to make it onto my list.
Awesome. So speaking of death, my number 2 is going to be The Fragile Art of Existence by Control Denied, the band that kind of started up right after Death with Chuck Schuldiner, of course. But on this one, he doesn't do the vocals, just guitar. There's clean vocals by another guy, which are great. It's got 3 guys, I think, that played on the last Death album, The Sound of Perseverance. It's got Richard Christie doing the drumming, so amazing drums. That guy's a machine. Shannon Hamm also does guitar work on this alongside of Chuck. And actually, Steve DiGiorgio does the bass playing, who has played on some Death albums. I think he played on Symbolic, and he's in Testament right now. Fantastic bass player. Yeah. But this album is just super awesome. The musicianship is amazing, like progressive, technical metal. It's not really death metal, but yeah, some of the standout tracks I'd say are Consumed, Expect the Unexpected, and the title track, but awesome from top to bottom. Really great stuff. Fragile Art of Existence, Control Denied, my number 2.
Wasn't that the last one he did before he died? I'm pretty sure that was the last album he did.
Came out in 99, and then Chuck died in 2001. So
yeah. A great album. I love that album. I knew you were gonna pick it. I didn't put it on my list. I knew you were gonna pick it. My number 1, my top album of this list is Gallow Braid with Ashes Isladon, and this is black metal. This is similar to Calden's Brood. I mean, it has the same fucking members in, but whereas that is more epic, summoning kind of sound, where it's kind of like a background music, like chanting, going off to war. This is pure fucking atmospheric, not atmospheric, like folky black, kind of like Agalloch, but turned up to 11. So it's got intense as fuck shrieking, like Dark Throne. The vocals are absolutely mental. You'll love it. This is an album you'll love. Awesome. The vocals are mental. The songs, I love them because they're like 10 minutes each. There's like 4 songs on the album and it's 46 minutes long. So you know they're going to be long. But the passages within each song, fast as hell parts, melodic parts, the guitar's fucking just... Oh, it's so good. It's so sexy. The melodies on this album, it blows my mind. And I'm so annoyed that they only have 1 album. Because this is so good. It's probably one of my favorite black metal albums now of all time. It's a masterpiece. Everyone needs to listen to this. I put it in my most underrated albums of all time video, which I did with Metal Trenches or someone else. I don't know. So, probably not him. I think it was with Metal Meltdown, actually.
No, Meltdown,
Yeah, it was with someone. Who cares? It's a great album. Everyone needs to listen to it if you love black metal, because if you love stuff like Agalloch, even Calden's Brood, you will fucking love this album. So it is Gallow Braid, Ashes Isladon. Give it a listen.
Sweet. So with my number 1, this album was at the very top of my top 10 obscure thrash metal albums I did a while back. It's called Faith Fails by the band Fallen Angel. Really awesome obscure stuff. Came out in 92. They're from Sweden, and I think that might have been a bit of a problem for them, especially at that time with the whole death metal scene coming up in Sweden. I think people were just kind of like brushing these guys off, but the production's amazing. The musicianship is fantastic. A lot of great solos, riffs, like some sweep picking going on, which is fantastic. Sounds, I'd say, pretty similar to Testament. So if you like the first 3 Testament albums, you should love this. Premier Parish, Ice, Visions of Terror, a couple of my favorite songs on it, but top to bottom, it's freaking amazing. Faith Fails, Fallen Angel, number 1.
Fuck yes. I will check it out because the first 3 Testament albums are fucking amazing. So yeah, I will. Yeah.
That is true, and that wraps up our list. Did you have any honorable mentions you wanted to run through, or?
I didn't actually write any honorable mentions down because I don't plan, but you nail off some of yours.
A couple of the ones I've got listed are Onward Through the Fog by Leviathan, not the Leviathan you're probably thinking of. This is just like a random thrash band that have 1 album in like 93. That Leviathan band, you like their what are they? Suicidal
albums,
black metal or some shit.
DSBM, yeah.
DSBM, gotcha. And I don't know how to pronounce this one. It's a black metal band, spelled Kvist, like Vist.
Yeah, probably.
Mid 90s. That's pretty cool stuff. The band, it's just I or one. It's an Abath, like side project band. It's got a lot of those same guys. Like Demon Ass did the lyrics for it. I think King Abhel does bass, and like Icedale does the guitar. That's really good stuff as well. Victims of Science by Gamacide, which is a classic kind of obscure thrash, and also the Morbid Saint album's pretty good.
Oh fuck!
Yeah,
Ah,
Morbid Saint.
I
Just
missed
like
it.
super brutal classic heavy thrash metal. But yeah, so anything else you wanted to add real quick before we close out here?
Well, I'm gonna add that I missed off that fucking Morbid Saint album because I love it. I can't believe I missed it off. But yeah, great picks,
Yeah.
great honorable mentions. So
Yeah, man. So thanks a lot for coming on here. It was cool. We'll have to definitely do it again sometime.
hell yeah.
And yeah, so as usual, everybody, let us know what you thought and give us your list in the comments. And until next time, thank you for watching.